Sometimes saying no allows for a better yes. But if you know this thing should be a no, then just wait for whatever's coming.
Hey everyone, I'm Angeline Constantinou, and this is Her Unapologetic Voice. This podcast was created for women who lead but are done leading from apology. Here we have real, unfiltered conversations about boundaries, truth, and confidence. The kind of talks that remind you your voice is not something you find once, it's something you build. Every episode will give you something real to take with you, whether it's a boundary script, a reflection tool, or simply the courage to say what you really mean. So if you're ready to lead from your truth, not from approval, this is your space. Your unapologetic voice starts here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Her Unapologetic Voice podcast show. And I am your host, Angeline Constantinou, and this is the space where we have honest conversations about leadership, healing, growth, and stepping into the life we were always meant to live unapologetically. Today's episode is especially powerful because we're talking about something that affects every woman at some point in her journey. The way we lead ourselves impacts the way we lead others. Whether it's in our careers, our families, or the businesses we build, the foundation of success is not just strategy. It's people, mindset, and culture. And today's guest understands that deeply. Jessica Lorello is a strategic people and culture leader with more than 15 years of experience helping organizations grow through strong leadership, intentional hiring, and people-first cultures. She has served as a chief people officer and trusted advisor to founders and executives, designing performance systems and recruiting frameworks that help companies scale while still protecting the human side of business. She is also the co-owner of Lifetime of Love Nannies in North Carolina, an employee-based nanny service she helped launch to profitability in just 6 months. But beyond the titles and accomplishments, Jessica is passionate about something we talk about often on this show. It is the connection between mindset, motivation, and performance. Because success isn't just about what we do, it's about who we become in the process. Jessica is also a mom, a wife, a daughter, and someone who leads with kindness and intention and passion every day. Jessica, I am so honored to have you here today. Welcome to the stage, I say.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. And, listening to that intro, that was lovely. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. You deserve it. And it was, yes, thank you so much. Because I do that for all my guests. And I always ask my guests before we start, what time is it where you are right now?
That's great. It is 2:13 p.m. in the afternoon. And in approximately 1 hour, I will be picking up my children from school, and my space here, which is very quiet, will no longer be.
It will no longer be a quiet space. I can totally understand.
No longer be quiet.
Because they're like jumping for joy. They want, they want to play. They want to do their,
Oh yeah, they're living their life, and I love that for them.
That's
that
great.
They just want to come home and have fun or lounge or whatever. School is pretty intense these days.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. Very intense. Anyways, let's talk about your journey. And I know that you've spent over 15 years helping organizations build strong cultures and people systems. It's funny because I used to work for a company 2 years ago, and they had a chief people officer. Anyway, so what first drew you into the world of people and cultural leadership, and what has that journey looked like for you, starting from the beginning?
I don't think that there is one pivotal point where I was like, I'm going to go work with people every day of my life. But, life has a weird way of putting you in the direction in which you are supposed to be. It's never linear. If you are looking for this perfect linear experience in life, please find me and tell me where it is. I kind of believe it would be boring, to be honest. Right. So I don't know that I would want it for myself, but I do think that if you have it and you love it, come share it with me because I want to hear about it. But, I I started out wanting to be a doctor, actually. I guess that's people focused as well. But I just really wanted to give patients an experience that was wholesome and about them as humans. But, like medical school is really difficult to get into. I
Sure.
was in my 20s and I was like, you know what? I don't know that I want to go to school for the next 13 years.
Mhm.
So I pivoted and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to PA school. And then, at that time in my life, I was on my own. I had to pay for all my applications. I was working a job where I was like getting a very minimal hourly rate and having to pay for everything on my own. And then I didn't have enough money for applications, so I only applied to like 2 schools and didn't get in. And like at that point, I could have literally been like, I guess I guess I'm not going to do anything with my life. I didn't get into PA school. I didn't go to medical school, but instead, I decided I was going to go to grad school for higher education. I enjoyed my college career and really thought, okay, well, surely I can work at a college, right? And so how do I do that? I went back to school to get my master's degree at Appalachian and I really enjoyed my experience. I came out of that and got a job as the assistant director in international student and scholar services. And my boss was a lawyer and she taught me so many things about law, about policy, about international information. At that same time, I became a wedding planner. So on the weekends, I would be a wedding planner. And then during the week, I was working in the international office. So you can see how these experiences started to like snowball into the next few things. So from a wedding planner, I turned into a catering manager. So I met someone through my wedding planning and they were at a point where they needed to grow. And I said, well, I could be your catering manager. And they hired me.
Wow.
Then I moved into the director of tutoring services at Appalachian and had a staff of about 150 students who I love hearing from, by the way. They message me on LinkedIn and they're like, you were such a great boss. Thank you so much. I learned so much. So that is really rewarding. And then from there, I thought, I love working with college students, but Angeline, I didn't love working with their parents. The parents were rough.
Wow. Describe that, please. Oh my gosh.
Well, they're just helicoptering. They would call my line and they would be like, hi, I need to know if my son or daughter is receiving tutoring right this moment. And I was like, I cannot disclose that to you. So anyway, that was just like the surface of it. Then from there, I moved into HR and worked as a consultant with small businesses and really, really found my niche. Like loved working in small business. That's where I really got to work with like founders and CEOs and just helping shape a business from a people perspective was just really rewarding. And then from there went into my chief people officer role. I've always wanted to own a company of my own. And so I had the opportunity to launch Lifetime of Love Nannies in North Carolina.
Yes,
And
I see that. I love the name.
it's been really, really rewarding and really great. And then I also have a podcast of my own where it's called Mom Means Business.
Ooh, I
And
like
we
it.
talk about how to be a mom in this world of business. And it is a lot to unpack.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know why? Moms have different roles. We have one role. You're juggling. You're trying to balance
All the
everything.
things. Yeah. And that's a great point because in all of these things that I've done in my career, there was nothing in me that was like, that's exactly what I'm going to do next. Like there was no certainty. It was just, I was sticking my toe out and just kind of taking a risk. And I always had to tell myself, like, what's the worst that could happen? You fail? Okay, well then you get back up and you do something different. You just have to you have to pivot. You can't, I say you can't. You should wallow for a day.
Okay.
And then you get back up.
It's okay to have a pity party, have your cup of coffee and have a pity party, but get back up.
Yeah.
Get back up.
And if you want to invite people to your pity party, that's fine. Invite them. But those people need to be the people that also smack you on the booty and tell you to come on, let's go.
Let's go. And Lord knows that's happened to me in the past. Like actually a few years ago, people were calling me because I kind of went dark for a few months. Yeah, Yeah, I went dark and people were like, is she okay? So text messages, phone calls were coming in, and they were very encouraging people. The
Yeah.
people with whom I mentored and and empowered, they called me like, where are you?
Yeah. What's going on? It's
What's
time to get
going
up.
on?
It's
It's
time
time
to
to
do
get
some
back
moving.
up. Go
Yeah.
live again. I'm like, okay, you'll see me live again.
Yeah.
And I rebuilt my podcast. I actually rebuilt my business. Yeah.
See, we need these people in our lives, right? Like, the community is so important.
I agree. I agree. Because I feel now in today's world that we live in, people, men and women, so I'm talking about both, I would say more women are craving community, the events, in-person events. I see more in-person events this year than I did last year.
I will say men crave it too, but they just don't know where to find it. And they're like masculine. I don't need anybody, but it's like not true. We are humans. I always say this, if COVID taught us anything, it taught us that we need to be with people.
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we were in New York, I was basically by myself.
I mean, we were craving it. We were like, yeah, all we could think about is like, how do we get out of our house to go see people? Do I have to wear a mask? Great, I'll do that. But like, people wanted to get out to see other people.
Right, exactly. I'm
Mhm.
glad that you brought up the male, the masculine energy, because it's like, oh, we don't need people, but they actually do. They're just not cognizant of it, or they're not aware of it, consciously aware of it.
Right. And they honestly like express themselves very differently. And
They do.
so if they're not in a space where they feel comfortable to have that conversation, they're just not going to express their needs or wants in that way. Whereas women are very open, like, I need a community or I want a friend or whatever. They will go to the Facebook, right? And say like, hey, I'm going to the park at this time. You want to meet me?
I remember that during COVID, I went to the park and I put up a post. If anyone's around, I'm at Saratoga Spa State Park. Come visit me. A very good friend came.
That's really great.
Yeah,
That's
she
so
came.
great.
She came to meet me, and she messaged me. I said, "I'll meet you. Just tell me the time." It was during COVID. I mean,
People were desperate.
people were desperate, right? I also value my alone time too,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel it's important to be in the present moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel that there is this drastic change and my perspective is the 90s. So that is what I remember most growing up. But there was this shift when I guess maybe social media came to be, but you didn't see people knocking on people's doors anymore. Like people knock on my door right now and I'm like,
I know. I know. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
And you're like, let me look at my Ring camera.
Who's knocking on my door?
And why are they knocking at my door? And who is that? And absolutely not. I will not answer the door. But it didn't always used to be like that. I remember knocking on my neighbors' doors and being like, can so-and-so come out to play? Yeah. Now it's like, hey, text so-and-so's mom to see if they can. And it's like, no, just go knock on their door. But even my mother-in-law used to say that, she grew up in New York, in Queens. And she used to say that like they would moms would be home, right? Because that was the time. And they would decide whose house they were going to go to. Oh, we're going to go to so-and-so's house today because she has the pool and it's pretty and we're going to go be there. Or we're going to go to so-and-so's house today because she has a nice kitchen. We're going to bake and but that just doesn't happen anymore. Women are working. It's just harder to create that community. And not to mention, we are freaking out about people knocking on our door.
That actually happened 2 weeks ago. My neighbor, I didn't know who it was because I don't expect someone to knock on my door.
Exactly. Why? Yeah. But why though? There's a door.
I know. Sometimes you make a big mountain out of a molehill. And I know that you're a strong advocate for the connection between mindset, motivation, and performance. So let's talk about that for a minute. So why do you believe mindset plays such a critical role in how individuals perform both professionally and personally? And how can leaders cultivate the right mindset within their teams?
Oh, those are two very loaded questions.
Okay.
The way that our brains work, it's so much easier to think about negative things. And so when you get in that mindset of negativity, it impacts your whole world. And if we can shift our mindset and do the work, right? Like, I'm not saying it's easy. Isn't there something like I'm not like a doctor or anything, but it's like the amount of muscles it takes to frown is less than the amount of muscles it takes to smile. So it takes work to smile.
Oh, there you go.
So it's like, if I'm not saying it's easy, but we have to shift the way we think about things. So now let me be clear that there is a difference between a mindset and actual actions that are happening in the workplace that is not a mindset, right? Like if there's bullying or harassment or assault of any kind, that is not a mindset shift. That is a problem. There are things that are a mindset, like, oh, I have to get up and go to work today. I get to get up and go to work today.
Get to, right. Reframing.
Yeah. Like
Reframing.
there are so many people out there that would probably love your job.
Oh yeah. Oh, they would. Absolutely.
You know,
I could work from home.
Yeah, exactly. So like get up and go to work, right? Or it's like you have these deadlines that your supervisor is giving you, and it's like a deadline, they're micromanaging me, whatever. But it's also like, if you didn't have a deadline, would you get it done? Would you know that that's what you need to do? How do we take what we're learning from them and utilize that in our career for the next step? What are the things that we're learning from them?
There we go.
And so if you can shift your mindset, it can be motivating, right? And then it can also cater to your performance, because if you're like, I have to go to work, humdrum, I don't want to be here, well, then your performance is going to not be great, right?
Exactly. I get to go to work. I am grateful that I get to go to work.
Yes.
Even when I worked in corporate America, I would say I am grateful I get to go to work.
Yeah.
Help businesses
getting laid off, and
careful, because we speak our lives into existence. And there are many times when we lie to ourselves.
Yeah. It's so easy to do that too, right? Like it's easy to be like, this sucks, maybe in this moment, but overall, does it?
Right. Exactly.
Like people will often say like, I just get paid to pay my bills. Okay, well, you're lucky that you have bills, right? Because that means you have a roof over your head, you have a car, you have things, right? So you have bills because you have things. So be grateful for that. But also like be grateful that you have a job that is paying for these things that you get to have.
Right. Otherwise you'd be homeless.
Right? Yes. I don't know if that answered your question, but that is how I see it. And what's really hard is if you allow yourself to get into the cycle of like, this is miserable, this is, and if you do get into that cycle and you truly are miserable, then do something about it. Right. Stop talking about the misery.
No, exactly. I'm glad you said that. Right. Yeah. Stop talking about the misery, just not being stuck there. Someone listening who may be stepping into leadership for the first time in their career, whether they're a manager, entrepreneur, even an entrepreneur or founder, what are the most important principles they should understand about leading people well, meaning they're stepping into leadership for the first time? For example, global speaking. Like when I go to London next weekend, I'm speaking in front of 100 people, 100 women. Yeah.
Okay. I'm writing this down because I don't want to forget and I want to say what I want to say. But authenticity is so important. Connect with somebody who is true to who they are. If you don't know who you are and you're like, what does that even mean? Who am I? What are my values? Do the work. And I promise it will pay tenfold. But authenticity truly just can come out of your pores. You don't even just be who you are, and that is going to speak volumes. And the other thing is transparency. Everyone's like, I love when I'm like, so have you thought about sharing that with the team? And people will be like, well, why would I do that? And then I'll be like, well, why not?
Right.
There's nothing illegal that you're sharing. Well, I didn't think about that. Like, why would I share? Well, because you're being transparent, and that builds trust. And
there you
that
go.
Is how you start to build a relationship, right? People like honesty, loyalty. And so why wouldn't you share? So between authenticity of a leader, right, being your true self, and transparency, you could take on as many businesses as you want. Now, what happens, Angeline, is people lose sight of those two things.
Why is that?
Money. I call it the shiny thing syndrome. Like,
oh yeah, the shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, it's like, a new carrot. Let's go get it. And we lose focus.
They're chasing.
Always, always.
Yeah.
And so you lose focus of what you actually started out doing or why you're there. And then that veers your authenticity, right? And it doesn't allow you to be so transparent because you don't actually always want everyone to know what you're chasing next.
Exactly.
So, but once you can, like, if you can really hone in and focus on those two qualities, personally, I think that's the way to go.
Agree. Absolutely agree with you. And are there like limiting beliefs that are holding them back? Because oftentimes when people step into leadership, they don't feel worthy of it. They're actually lying to themselves. So let's talk about breaking those barriers and just shattering beliefs. So have you run across that in your work with organizations?
Yeah, I have actually, myself included.
You're a human being. I love it. See, we're real.
Yeah, isn't that called, there's they make like a syndrome, was like
Imposter.
Thank you. Imposter syndrome. Yes, me, I have that. But this is what I tell people when they say things to me like, why do I have this role? Like, I'm not qualified. I should not be here. It's like, well, did you get the job? And do you have the skills and the want to do it? Then do it. Do it as best as you can because that's all you have, right? Like, you don't have any more than you have. So you just do the best you can and you move forward with that because that's all we can do. And it might be something that you have to play over and over and over again in your mind. I am worthy of this. I can do this. I am smart. I am strong. I am brave. I say all these things to my kids. And you deserve to be in this role. You've worked hard.
Right.
You yourself have to tell yourself that daily. Exactly. I had to tell myself that daily. But also, again, back to this community, I just come back to it, like, make a cheer squad. Like, you have to make a cheer squad because they need to be saying the same things to you that you're saying to yourself.
Right. Exactly. I love the cheer squad.
I was a cheerleader in high school, so
let's go. Be your own cheerleader, I always say.
Yeah, be your own cheerleader. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes it's hard to be your own cheerleader. I mean, back to like, what's the worst that could happen? I don't know. I just keep bringing that back to myself often and to people that I work with. Like, what's the worst that could happen?
Right. Exactly.
And maybe don't ask an open heart surgeon that because that's a different story, right? We're not doing open heart surgery. We're not emergency room physicians. No human life is on the table. But for the most part, what's the worst that could happen?
Right. Exactly. I want to talk about the many hats that you wear, balancing leadership and life. You wear many hats: business leader, entrepreneur, mom, wife, and friend. Many women listening are navigating the same thing. The soccer moms, they work 9 to 5 or they have their own business. So what has helped you stay grounded while balancing career, family, and personal well-being?
That's a really loaded question. I'm just going to say that I just take it as it comes, right? Like, first of all, I'm a very scheduled human, hence the wedding planner, right? Like, I love a spreadsheet. I love a calendar. I love all that. So, and I realize not everybody likes that kind of stuff, and that's fine. You don't have to, but I very much schedule things in a way that bring me joy. Like in the morning, I enjoy working out. That's how I love to start my day. And I will prioritize that because I know then after that, I can be the best mom that I know I can be because I've had time to myself.
That's good.
And so that's not everybody, right? Like you have to figure out what works for you. And now, Angeline, if you would have asked me 15 years ago if I want to wake up at 5 a.m. and work out, I would have been like, you are out of your mind. Absolutely not. I will not do that.
I have, but now I'm stretching in the morning. I've changed up my routine. And at 5:30, I'm going to Zumba class.
Ooh.
You know what I've noticed? Like when I go to Zumba class, now twice a week, I sleep so good.
I bet. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And I lift weights too. I do weights. After this, I'm going to go for a walk. And then I'm going to go lift some weights. And I was like a 4:30 a.m. workout girl. That's what I did. I want to get back into doing early morning workouts because it sets the tone for the day.
It does. But, I'll tell you, like, I have had to tell myself this when I don't wake up to work out and then I've missed my workout for the day. It's like, oh, shame on you. You didn't work out. And it's like, no, your body needed a day. It's
that was actually me 2 days ago. I got up at 7:30, woke up. But guess what? I gave myself grace.
Yes. And not just in a workout, but like you should give yourself grace often.
Are you a local business owner in Stewart looking to get your brand in front of the right audience? My name is Angeline, and I am the host and founder of Let's Break the Silence, a podcast dedicated to empowering women to heal, rebuild their confidence, and step into their next chapter. I'm currently partnering with a select number of local businesses who want more visibility and deeper connection with women who are actively investing in themselves, whether that's through wellness, beauty, personal growth, or lifestyle. This isn't just about advertising. It's about building real partnerships and highlighting businesses that are truly making an impact in our community. If that sounds like you, I would love to connect. Please send me a message or reach out. Let's collaborate and grow together. And I journaled and I meditated for 20 minutes and that was it. And then I said, I'm just going to go about my day. Like I normally do that for a half hour. Meditate, journal, pray. I stretch and do a lot of journaling, a lot of gratitude. That's so important.
Read the 5 a.m. Club. Have you?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what I will say is, if I'm being fully transparent, I don't totally love the whole like meditate, gratitude.
Okay.
Do I think it works? Absolutely. But finding time in my day to like make that happen in a very intentional way, like you just talked about, right? Like 20 minutes of meditation, stretching, all that. It's great, right? But in my day particularly, it is really hard for me to find chunks of time to do that. And what I've been practicing, because it takes practice, is finding like micro times throughout my day. So like 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, but like just even not even moving from my chair, right? Like I'm in my desk, at my desk, in my chair, just sitting here and just looking up from my computer, looking out the window, or just sitting here and saying 3 phrases of gratitude, whatever that looks like. And so while I would love to have that time of like intentional 20 minutes or whatever, instead of getting mad at myself, I don't have that time. I was trying to sort of like reframe, reposition, how can I make that happen? But like then back to your question of like, how do you manage and balance it all? You know, my friends would say like, you do balance it all, Jessica, and we're not sure how you do it, but you do it.
You do it, yeah.
But I would say like, I don't. I'm just going along. If my calendar tells me to be there, I'm there.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I love that.
And when I'm with my kids, I really try to be with my children. And, you know, I have also had to learn that being with them doesn't mean like I'm on the floor playing with them. It can simply be I'm in the same room as them while they're playing, and maybe I'm reading a book, or maybe I'm, you know, doing something else, not scrolling on my phone.
Right, there you go. Talking about that actually yesterday with another guest, and I leave my phone in my kitchen plugged in, because when I do my meditation, I do it on the couch and I don't have the phone there. I do that on purpose.
So distracting.
Because then you pick up the phone and start scrolling. So,
absolutely. You know what feature I've really utilized a lot lately is the do not disturb.
Oh yeah, I do that too. Until 7 a.m. From 9 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Do not disturb.
Do not disturb.
Yeah. Well, because sleep is very important.
It's very important. If someone messages me at 9:30, I'm not going to answer the message.
I know it. I tell my friends all the time, like, if there's an emergency, I'm not your girl after 9 p.m.
I am not. Me too. Me too. And you would be amazed. I wake up in the morning and I see messages at 1 o'clock in the morning, 12 midnight. I'm like, don't you sleep?
I sleep like a little bitty baby.
Me too. And then you know what I rediscovered? What I discovered? That I have a 2 a.m. audience.
A 2 a.m. audience?
Yeah. Meaning like I went on ChatGPT. They're scrolling on social media at 2 o'clock.
Really? Wow. I just am wondering, like, what are you doing at 2 a.m.? Like, why are you not sleeping? Is it because you have, like, are you insomnia or?
I don't know. It could be anxiety.
That anxiety. Have you watched the movie Inside Out?
No, but I've heard of it.
You should watch Inside Out too. That's where anxiety enters the picture. And she comes in as a tornado. And it is the greatest depiction of anxiety I have ever seen. So I think it was Pixar. Way to go, Pixar.
Yeah, see, there you go. I love that. I love that.
Add that to your Friday night lineup, which I'm sure you
can't I will. Oh, yeah. It's going to be tomorrow night. Inside Out. There you go.
Yeah, Inside Out. It's really great. if you are trying to figure out or share with your children if like this is what they're feeling, Inside Out 2 is perfect.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
great.
I think back to your question, I could talk about this all day, truthfully, but my friends and I often talk about how everyone has a different capacity. So like I could be managing a lot of things that don't necessarily feel like a lot for me, but somebody else could be managing those same things and it could feel like a lot. And so we get lost in this comparison game where we're like, you might look at somebody else and be like, well, I don't have all those things, or I'm not doing all those things. Should I be? Well, no, just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean you need to, should, or should be doing any of that.
Right, exactly.
All of our capacities are so different. And so you just have to learn what your capacity is and keep it in a manageable state and learn to say no to things that are not a priority. Then back to this values thing, right? Like,
right.
Learn what your values are, because then that will help you make decisions for things that are not important or are important, right? Like it will help you say no.
It'll help you say no. Because
Yes.
some people, especially, women, because we've been conditioned to like help everyone.
Yes.
Well, you have to love ourselves too.
Yeah.
You have to pour into yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. I say no to certain things that don't align with me.
Yeah.
I just say no. Like,
and I will tell you, it doesn't feel good to say no. I don't love saying no because I want to pour into all the things, just like you said, right?
Right.
But sometimes saying no allows for a better yes, if that makes sense.
I love that.
Yes. Sometimes saying no allows for a better yes. And you don't know what that next thing is going to be, right? Because we can't tell the future. But if you know this thing should be a no, then just wait for whatever's coming.
Exactly.
And, I think that's also true in the workplace. Like, I think that for me as a professional, as an HR professional, I like to make sure that we are having conversations early and often with employees. And those conversations, yes, and those conversations aren't always going to be easy. But the hard conversations are actually better for morale because then you're getting to them early. And so they're not as tense or as awful as they might be down the road. But part of those conversations is assessing the job description and the job that you were hired to do, right? And so I'm not saying that you should tell your boss no, but what I am saying is that oftentimes it's a really great place to practice boundaries and to have the conversation of like, look, I'm doing 50% of the things that I'm doing are outside of what I was hired to do in my job description. If you want me to do something different, I'm happy to do that. But let's have this conversation so we're all on the same page of what the expectation is.
Exactly.
And that is a boundary, if we would like to say that. Exercise in a positive way, right? That allows for forward motion and that mindset and motivation and performance that we were talking about. So, and then back to here we are again. It's all full circle, Angeline. That authenticity, that transparency, right? Like you're being transparent with your supervisor. You're being transparent in the situation to say, like, I am at max capacity, or even I think people are really afraid, women's especially, to be like, what is the expectation? Or they just keep saying yes to things. Like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then their jobs just start to pile up.
Right. Then things just start to pile up.
Yeah. Yes.
I've had to put my foot down. Like when the last position that I worked, I was promoted. And then I moved to Florida a year and a half ago, and I had to go to the chiropractor to get realigned, readjusted, and rebooted. Yeah. Because when you move, my boss, he was pretty good about it, but like I could tell he wasn't happy with it because, it's almost the end of the month. And I'm like, too bad. I didn't say it, but I said, I got to take care of me right now so I can help the team produce.
Yeah. I mean, good for you for saying that. Also, moving is so hard. So touch everything you own.
I sold everything and then I moved. That was hard.
Selling it all?
I didn't sell everything. I ended up donating.
What'd you do? Just start over?
Start over, yeah.
I love that. I really wish I could do that.
Tell me more about that. Starting over.
Okay, so my kids are older now, but I still have their crib. because something about it, like I just can't get rid of it.
Okay. Okay.
It's like I look at the crib and it's like immediately I have memories of them being in the crib, and I don't know.
Mm,
And so when you say start over, I mean,
yeah.
there are probably some things that I could be like, whatever. But for the most part, I'm like, that is like memory inducing for me. And I don't know.
It's hard to let go. I mean, I had a lot of things I had to let go. I got to let go of them, but I
Mhm.
felt better
It was like a
because
weight.
the weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I didn't have any furniture here when I moved in, just a little sofa. And then gradually I furnished my apartment, and it's only a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh, yes.
A nice lady donated her queen bed to me because no way I could bring the cost of moving furniture from upstate New York
Oh,
to
yeah.
Florida would have cost a fortune. It wasn't worth it to me.
Did you bring anything with you? Were there like
Just a
any?
few files, just a suitcase, because I donated all my winter clothes.
Well, because you're in Florida, and who needs winter clothes
Right,
when
and
you're in
actually I had to
Florida?
buy a coat recently because in December I flew to New York City for a mastermind event and it was really cold. I said, "Oh, now I got to buy a coat." Like I'm struggling right now.
I wonder how long it will take you to accumulate things again.
I have to get rid of stuff again.
It's crazy.
Isn't it crazy? You don't realize it.
No, things just like come into my home,
Yeah,
and I'm like, how on earth did this get here? Mostly it's the kids.
right.
You know what I'm also going to say about that? You bring up a really great point. My mom comes over and she's like, "You're always rearranging your house and like changing things around." Well, I said to her, I was like, "Well, it's the one thing I can control, so might as well control it, you know?" But actually, it is very cleansing. Like this
It
room I'm
is.
sitting in used to be the kids' playroom, and we recently changed it to a sitting room.
Love
And
it.
the kids actually sit in here now, and they will play board games and they will play card
Oh,
games. And so all that to say, like sometimes you just need like a cleanse.
you need a cleanse.
You just need to like take a room, repurpose it. It's not forever.
No, of course not. I love rearranging things. I did that in my two bedroom apartment up in Saratoga. I rearranged things, and then here the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. I'm rearranging.
It just feels so good.
Yeah, it feels good and it's different.
It's
Now I have
different.
magnolias in my apartment. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, if you are staring at a room and it's stagnant and you don't love it,
uh,
change it.
oh yeah, I love that. I love that.
Because the energy, right? Like that
The
energy is not,
energy.
yeah, it's not good.
Exactly. Change it. If you don't like it, change it.
You know who doesn't love my love for changing rooms is my husband. Because I'm like, "Can you move this couch over here? How about over here? Can you?"
You're probably like, no.
Yes. He's like, "Oh, you're in that mood again? Okay." He always says afterwards, he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you did that." And
It
I'm
looks
like,
really
"Of
good. Exactly.
course it looks good."
Good cleansing. It's a good cleansing.
It really is. It really is.
Well, we're coming up on the top of the hour, and what I want to ask is this is like a deeper reflection question. If someone listening right now feels overwhelmed in their career or unsure about their path, what advice would you give them about finding clarity and purpose in their work and leadership journey?
Just take one step forward. What's the worst that could happen? And the step can literally be to just write down what you want. Like it doesn't have to be grandiose. I think we always think that like if we're in a slump, the next step has to be grand.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it's quite the opposite. The next step can be slow and intentional and thoughtful. Don't think that just because you're in a rut that the next step has to be the change.
Right.
Because it probably won't be, and that's okay. You just don't even know how a conversation at a coffee shop with somebody you're behind in line can change your life.
Oh, yeah. That's happened to me.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep your eyes and ears open. Don't put the pressure on yourself to make big moves because it doesn't have to be that.
Right. It can be baby steps.
It can be the tiniest little baby step.
Yeah.
A crawl even, right? Like we crawl before we walk.
That's right. We crawl before we walk is right. Tell me
It
about
can even be a scoot. We scoot before we crawl before we walk.
Right, exactly. A few weeks ago, I was at one of my favorite places on Sunday for brunch. I like to go after church worship. And I met this nice girl, and I'm going to contact her for coffee. It's like, she said that I made her day. And I was like, And she's from Romania. I'm like, oh my God. So we talked for 1 hour.
Wow, that's so great. I mean, that, I think also in this day and age, we think that we're like disturbing people or being annoying but the truth is exactly what we were talking about. Like people are craving that connection. And so if you just like take a baby step and make that connection, you never know where it can lead.
You never know where it can lead is right. And before we wrap up, where can people find you?
Where can they find me? You can find me on LinkedIn, Jessica Lorello.
That's where I found you, actually, right here. Okay. And then we will have the links in the show notes, everyone. Okay. But you can reach out to Jessica on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn more than ever at Jessica Lorello. I do. I really do. That is like, I don't know. I just love it.
You can connect with people in different ways there. So
exactly. It's great.
Harmless. Yeah.
It is harmless. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and insight. This was a very fun conversation.
Yes.
Very playful and fun. I loved it. Conversations like this remind us that leadership is not just about titles or positions. It's about how we show up, how we treat people, and the culture we create around us. And for everyone listening today, I hope this conversation inspires you to remember that your mindset, your voice, and your leadership matter more than you may realize. And if today's episode resonated with you, I encourage you to please share it with someone, a friend, a colleague who needs to hear this message. And if you're ready to step into your next level of clarity, confidence, and purpose, I invite you to visit my website, letsbreakthesilence.com. You can learn more about my work and book a collaborative breakthrough call with me. So until next time, keep rising, keep healing, and keep using your voice. Amplify your voice. This is Angeline, and this has been another powerful episode of Her Unapologetic Voice. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Her Unapologetic Voice. Every conversation here is meant to help you build confidence from the inside out and find strength in your own words. If today's message resonated, follow the show and share it with a friend who's ready to lead from who she truly is. You can also connect with me on social media at Her Unapologetic Voice podcast for updates and behind the scenes insights. Remember, confidence begins when you stop apologizing for your truth and start speaking from it. I'm Angeline Constantinou, and I will see you in the next episode.